students from the University of Southeastern Philippines
College of Education,
taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in
music, arts, physical education, and health.
and we are going to talk about
the music in the Romantic period.
The Romantic era was a period of great change and emancipation. While the Classical era had strict laws of balance and restraint, the Romantic era moved away from that by allowing artistic freedom, experimentation, and creativity. The music of this period was very expressive, and melody became the dominant feature. Composers even used these expressive means to display nationalism. This became a driving force in the late Romantic period, as composers used elements of folk music to express their cultural identity. As in any time of change, new musical techniques came about to fit in with the current trends. Composers began to experiment with length of compositions, new harmonies, and tonal relationships. Additionally, there was the increased use of dissonance and extended use of chromaticism. The melody has chromatic inflections, meaning the melody or scale uses successive half steps. There was also a rhythmic diversity and elasticity to the music. The use of tempo rubato was popularized. The tempo rubato is the advancing or delaying a beat, or slowing down and speeding up, usually for expressive effects, before restoring the regular beat or tempo. The harmony, too, has increasing chromaticism and expanded concepts of tonality or the central pitch of a composition. The texture was usually homophonic because the melody was accompanied by chordal harmony by other voices that were producing harmony but were not primarily of melodic significance themselves. Examples are hymns or songs accompanied by the chords of piano. But in later years of the era, the music became polyphonic. During the Romantic period, the virtuoso began to be focused. Exceptionally gifted performers, such as pianists, violinists, and singers, became enormously popular. Most composers were also virtuoso performers. It was inevitable that the music they wrote would be extremely challenging to play. In this period, musical compositions were based on literary works. Secular music became predominant because the performances were usually conducted in public, and most of the audiences are from the middle class. Another important feature of Romantic music was the use of color. While new instruments were constantly being added to the orchestra, composers also tried to get new or different sounds out of the instruments already in use. To create more and different sounds, various instruments were added in each section. In the woodwind section, the saxophone, bass clarinet, English horn, piccolo, and contrabassoon were added. The trombone, French horn, trumpet, and tuba were added in the brass section. The harp was added in the string family. And lastly, in the percussion instruments, we have bass drum, cymbals, chimes, and gong.
The romantic song, art song, is the setting of a poem to music, specifically to enhance the meaning of the text. There are three types of song structure. First, strophic form. The same melody is repeated with every stanza, often used in hymns, carols, and most folk and popular songs. Second, third composed form. Proceeds from beginning to end, without repetitions of whole sections. The music follows the storyline, changing according to the text, and enables the composer to mirror every shade of meaning on the words. Third, modified strophic form. The same melody may be repeated for 2 or 3 stanzas, with new material introduced when the poem requires it, generally at the climax. The Lied is the German term for song, a German texted solo vocal song with piano accompaniment. The texts range from tender sentiment to dramatic balladry. Favorite themes are love, longing, and the beauty of nature. Now, let's proceed to the Romantic composers and their contributions. First is Franz Schubert, 1797 to 1828. Born in a suburb of Vienna, learned the violin from his father and piano from an older brother. Became a member of Vienna choir boards because of his soprano voice. Died at the age of 31 and buried near to his idol Beethoven. In his music, the melodies have a tenderness and a quality of longing, marks the confluence of the classical and romantic eras. Symphonies are classical, lighter and piano pieces are wholly romantic. His principal works are more than 600 lieder, including the early, which is based on the legend that whoever is touched by the king of the elves must die. The Erling lured children to their destruction in his dark habitat deep in the forest. 3 song cycles, which includes The Lovely Maid of Demille in the year 1823 and The Winter's Journey in 1827. Next is Robert Schumann, 1810 to 1856. Born in Zwickau, a town in southeastern Germany. In his music, piano pieces brim over with impassioned melody, novel changes of harmony and driving rhythms, attached with literary meanings. Common theme of his songs is love, particularly from a woman's point of view. Symphonies are thoroughly romantic in feeling, which communicate a lyric freshness that has preserved their appeal. Piano music. Piano was the most popular instrument of the Romantic era. The piano played a crucial role in the taste and experience of the new mass public. Four-hand piano music. A chamber music form for 2 performers at one piano or occasionally at 2. Many works were arranged for this genre. In the Romantic period, the piano was developed with felt-covered hammers, sustained pedal, metal frame, and more keys. Some of the common types of piano pieces composed in this era are mazurka, polonaise, and waltz. Niccolo Paganini, 1782 to 1840, a violinist, wrote pieces for solo violin and for orchestra. In his music, genre, virtuosic violin solo, key, E major, meter, duple, tempo, andante. However, there are so many notes per measure, usually 16, that they become very rapidly. Next is Franz Liszt, 1811 to 1886. Born in Hungary of an Austrian mother, he received most of his education in Paris, studied piano in Vienna at an early age. He spent most of the rest of his life in Germany, Austria, and Hungary, composing piano and orchestral music as well as masses. Frédéric Francois Chopin, 1810 to 1849, or also known as the poet of piano, he is the national composer of Poland, left for Paris at the age of 21, where he spent the rest of his career. His music was centered about the piano. His nocturnes or night songs are melancholic and meditative. Preludes are visionary fragments. Some are only a page in length. Several consist of 2 or 3 lines. Works for piano and orchestra, including 2 piano concertos. Piano music including 4 ballets, 3 sonatas, preludes, etudes, mazurkas, nocturnes, waltzes, polonaises, impromptus, scherzos, rondos, marches, and variations. Chamber music, all including piano songs. Clara Weeks Kuhlmann, 1819 to 1896, studied piano at the age of 5, first performed in the public as a concert artist in Leipzig at the age of 9, gave her last public concert at the age of 72. In her music, solo piano music, including dances, caprices, romances, scherzos, impromptus, character pieces, variations, and cadenzas for Mozart and Beethoven piano concertos. 1 piano concerto with orchestra or quintet, 1837. Chamber music including 1 piano trio, 1846, and 3 romances for violin and piano, 1855 to 56. Lieder with text by Burns, Ruckert, Heine, and other poets.
And now let's talk about another form of romantic music, which is the program music. Program music is instrumental to these literary or pictorial associations. The nature of these associations is indicated by the title of the piece or by an explanatory note, the program, which is supplied by the composer. There are varieties of program music. First is concert overture. It is a one-movement orchestral composition, often inspired by literature and dramatic in expression. An example of this is Romeo and Juliet. Next one is incidental music. It consists of an overture and a series of pieces to be performed between the acts of a play and during important scenes. It is written to be played during the performance of a drama, but developing an identity as concert music in its own right. All in all, incidental music is used as background music for televisions and films. The third one is the program symphony. It is a multi-movement orchestral work. An example of this is Berlioz' Symphony Fantastique. The last one is a symphonic poem. It is a piece of program music for orchestra, and consists of one movement, which is in the course of contrasting sections, develops a poetic idea, suggests a scene, creates a mood. And it differs from concert overture by being much freer in its structure. A one-movement orchestral work conceived as a kind of poetry expressed in tones instead of words. The Romantics' major innovation in the field of orchestral work, an example of this are Smetana's Tamaldou.
Hector Berlioz was born in France in a small town near Grenoble. He is a son of a well-to-do physician, and he was sent away to attend medical school in Paris at the age of 18, but he was much intrigued with the conservatory and the opera. One of his famous works is the Symphonie Fantastique in 1830, wherein he used the term idée fixe to describe the melody representing the loved one in his symphony. Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky was born at Votinsk in a distant province of Russia. He is the son of a government official, and he graduated at 19 from the aristocratic school of jurisprudence in St. Petersburg and obtained a minor post in the Ministry of Justice. He entered in the Conservatory of St. Petersburg at the age of 23, and he was married to Antonina Milyukova. Tchaikovsky was known for his compositions for ballet. He composed The Swan Lake, The Sleeping Beauty, and The Nutcracker. Bedřich Smetana was the first Bohemian composer to achieve international prominence. He was born in a small village in eastern Bohemia, now the Czech Republic. He is the son of a master brewer, and he was sent to school in Prague at his teens.
The fourth one is Edvard Grieg. He came to represent the voice of Norway. The nationalist movement was especially resonant in Norway due to the country's struggle for independence from Sweden. It was a cause to which Grieg was developed and which succeeded shortly before his death. He is best for his piano concerto and the incidental music for Peer Gynt. Next is the absolute forms of music. First is the Romantic Symphony. It is a favorite genre throughout the Romantic era, characterized by lyrical themes, colorful harmonies, and expanded proportions. It consisted of 4 movements. First is the most dramatic, generally exhibits the basic elements of sonata allegro form. Second, may retain its slow and lyrical nature, but also range in mood from whimsical and playful to tragic and passionate. Third, a strongly rhythmic and exciting scherzo with overtones of humor, surprise, caprice, or factums. Fourth, has a dimension of character designed to balance the form. This is often a spirited allegro and sonata allegro form. Next is Johannes Brahms. He was born in Hamburg. He is the son of double bass player. Helped his family's income at the age of 10 by playing the piano in the dance house of the slum district where he grew up. His music and principal works are traditional music, orchestral music including 4 symphonies, also 4 concertos, 1 for violin, and 1 for double concerto for violin and cello. Also, he has choral music including a German Requiem, Alto Rhapsody, and Lieder including Weltliches Tanz den, Serenade, and 4 serious songs. Next is Felix Mendelssohn. He was also born in Hamburg, Germany, as a privileged son of a wealthy aristocratic family. Revived Bach's music, named conductor of the Gewandhaus Orchestra in Leipzig. His music and principal works showed expert craftsmanship and a masterful control of resources. Symphonies are organized according to classical principles. Performed as overture, A Midsummer Night's Dream, symphonies, the Scottish and the Italian, Oratorio, Allegro, and the Violin Concerto E minor, written 3 years before his death, and Mendelssohn's last orchestral work.
During the 19th century or the late Romantic period, nationalism arose. This refers to the various national schools that consciously tried to separate themselves in the standards set in the classical period. The three leading musical countries which contributed much on the late Romantic period are France, Italy, and Germany. Now let's talk about choral and dramatic music. Romantic choral music offered the masses an ideal outlet for their artistic energies. There are four forms of choral music. One is Mass, the second is Requiem Mass. It is a burial mass or mass for the dead. The third one is Oratorio, a large-scale dramatic genre based on a text of religious or serious character, or performed by solo voices, chorus, and orchestra. It is similar to opera, but without scenery, costumes, or action. And the last one is part songs. It is a secular vocal composition unaccompanied in 3, 4, or more parts. The Romantic opera was developed into distinct national styles in France, Germany, and Italy. It uses human voice to project basic emotions such as love, hatred, jealousy, joy, and grief with an elemental force. The opera fostered different national styles in 3 of Europe's leading musical countries: the France, Italy, and Germany. In France, the Romantic opera came into different varieties such as the grand opera, opera comique, and lyric opera. Grand opera focused on serious historical dramas and was nourished by the propagandist purposes of France's new leaders. The opera comique, comic opera with spoken dialogue. And the last one is the lyric opera. It is the combination of the grand opera and the opera comique. In Germany, Singspiel was developed. The immediate predecessor of German Romantic opera when Germany had no long-established opera tradition. Singspiel is a light or comic drama with spoken dialogue. Meanwhile, bel canto style was developed in Italy. It is also called as beautiful singing. It emphasizes the beauty and virtuosity of the voice. Bel canto style is characterized by floored melodic lines and delivered by voices of great agility and purity of tone. Let's proceed to some composers who contributed during the late Romantic era. Giuseppe Verdi was born in a small town in northern Italy. He pursued his studies because of his talents in music. Giuseppe stands as the epitome of romantic drama and passion. He composed 28 operas, including Macbeth, Rigoletto, Il Trovatore, and La Traviata. Next is Richard Wagner. Richard was the son of a minor police official who died when Richard was still an infant. He composed 13 operas including Rienzi and The Flying Dutchman. He also composed an orchestral music including Siegfried Idyll. The last one is Giacomo Puccini. He is born in Lucca, Italy. He is the son of a church organist. Giacomo traveled to Milan in 1880, where he studied at the Conservatory. Some of his works include Tosca, Madame Butterfly, and The Girl of the Golden West.
Hey guys! Thank you so much for watching our video.
We hope that you learn a lot about music in the Romantic period.
And we hope that you'll find this useful.
So for more information and clarification, just leave your comments in this video.
So thank you and God bless.
Bye,
Bye guys!